Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by Big League Chew. This is episode 280. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin, and I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
Hey, everybody. Hi.
Greetings.
Oh, good day, sir.
Good day to you.
I don't think we get enough of those anymore. It's good day, sirs.
Top of the morning.
Why can't we bring that back? Why not?
Guten Morgen, a little German.
Yeah.
Buenos, what is morning? What is Spanish?
Dias.
Buenos dias.
Dias.
Of course, I knew that. I don't know why I didn't know that. Come on, clean it up, Corwin.
Really? Is Meredith's family's Puerto Rican?
Yeah, I'm married to a
Right?
Puerto Rican, as she goes by. She's a Puerto Rican. I feel like I should remember that a little more.
Yeah. Get it together, guy.
A little more readily.
Buenos dias, everybody.
Speaking of remembering things readily, I know I sent you that picture yesterday. I was out at the range yesterday.
Oh, yeah. How'd that go?
I was out there slicing and dicing. No, it actually went surprisingly well. Like I went with Emeritus grandfather had been wanting to take me out because he's former military, and so he's a member of a course around here. It's like the Army Navy course.
Nice.
So he just walks right in. It's great. So he's been wanting to get me out to the range a little bit. So I finally went out there, and I got set up, and I was like, this is going to be terrible. It's been a minute. Like the last thing I did was I think at Top Golf like a month or two ago.
Yeah.
So I thought it was going to be real rusty. Line up for the first shot, and let me just tell you, it was a beaut. It was a beaut. He looked at me. He said, "That should be that's unfair. That you didn't even warm up. You didn't even stretch. You did nothing, and that's what you did." And I was like,
"It's in there. That's what I'm saying. This is you're slowly, like, if you try it maybe one or two more times, you get roped in, and you're like, I have the hand-eye coordination.
It's there, dude. It's there.
Yeah.
So I spent.
But just let it. Yeah. You were just at the range. You didn't play around, right?
I gotta let it marinate a little bit. But he started me off with an iron, which is odd for me because I usually hate using anything but a driver. Just give me a big berth and let me let it eat. So I was like, all right, I'll do the irons. I didn't want to leave the irons. I was like, for my standards, I was doing pretty well, and I was like, I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to mess
irons make more sense to me too.
I got a good thing going here.
Yeah.
And I switched over to the driver. Had to make a little bit of an adjustment, but all in all, it was a pretty good day at the range. And all I gotta say is I'm coming for you, and I'm coming for all the people that follow us that are always posting about how they're out golfing. If we're ever in the same area, I'm coming for you.
This is what we do. This is the transition. I need you to just buy in.
Well, I'm still.
Do you have clubs, or were you?
Well, so that's the thing. So I had like a throwdown set that I got. I don't even remember where I got it from, but I just have it on the off chance to go to the range or whatever if we get bored. But he hooked me up with it. I said he's like, I gave both the Emeritus brothers each a set, and now I'm giving you one of my extra sets. And I said, did my performance warrant earning that? He said it absolutely did. So I felt pretty good about myself. So
there you go. I just picture you looking like Andy. He's like, hit about 1,500 balls last night.
Hands are pretty tender. Got a bunch of blisties. No, but he took care of me. He let me borrow one of his gloves. I usually don't use a glove when I go out, which is a big mistake for somebody that doesn't shoot golf all that often.
Yeah.
But all in all, pretty good day at the range, and like I said, I'm coming for you and anybody else that wants to smoke.
Hey man, takes some time. It takes some time. Just wait. You'll go out and you'll like randomly shoot like an 85, and you're like, whoa, I'm pretty good. And then for the next 10 straight times, you'll shoot like a 110. and you're like, oh, this game is incredibly difficult. It's not fair. Baseball, our margin of error is just like, it's so big from line to line. You can't have that kind of attack angle with a club face or you're in trouble.
I think I just need to get out there and redeem myself, because the last round of golf I shot, I told you, and the people that have been listening for a while, they know my last round of golf was an 81, and it was through 9.
Yeah.
I didn't even get the full 18. It was through 9.
That's deep. That's deep.
And they say, how do you remember that? What's 81 times 2? That's a full major league season.
Yeah.
And I shot it through 9. So
you got your money's worth, pal. You got your money's worth.
Oh yeah, I got my strokes in for sure, but I just need to go out there and shake that off, because I can't have that hanging over my head for the rest of my life. You know, I just got to go out there and do it. Which is exactly what Reid Detmers did, Nate. He went out and just did the thing. And let me just say, you know how we talk about how I just have the worst luck when it comes to these kinds of things?
Yeah.
So it was already it was a West Coast game, obviously.
Yeah.
It's at home. They're out there they're not out in L.A. What is that, Anaheim? Out there in Anaheim.
This was Monday, right?
No, this was Tuesday.
Tuesday?
And so, I mean, the game's finishing late, but your boy's tired. I got to get in bed. I didn't even see, how MLB nowadays does that thing where they give you the warning. Like
the 7th? Yeah.
No, they do it in the 5th now. I didn't even see that. So yeah. I just must have been in bed real early.
Yeah.
So I get in bed, and then I don't even remember why I had to get up, but I had to go into it was to change the temperature. And so I had to get up. I had to use my phone because I couldn't see where I was going, because I was kind of partially already asleep. And I turn over my phone and I see 2 notifications. I see Reid Detmers has a no-hitter through 8. And then the next notification underneath that, Reid Detmers has thrown a no-hitter. And then I was like, okay, how long has this notification been sitting on my phone? It was 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I missed
that's real late.
I missed the boat again. Yeah. So I had to go in there. And make a graphic. And then I had to get caught up to speed the following morning, because I was like, I'm not watching a condensed game right now. You need to go to bed.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for still being on top of it somewhat.
Yeah.
Kinda.
It was pure luck that I even was aware that it had been thrown that night, because otherwise I would have been fast asleep. But just continuing the theme of terrible luck with being able to time these things out. They just seem to always happen in the most inconvenient times, but I prevailed.
I'm real proud of you.
Albeit 15 minutes late. Reid Detmers, a rookie, making his, his 11th start?
I think you're right, yeah.
His 11th big league start. Throws a no-hitter versus the Rays. Again, that was Tuesday night in a just blowout win. There was so much going on in this game that you could almost argue
there was a lot going
took
on.
away from the no-hitter.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Trout had 2 home runs, and the Rendon going backyard baseball from the other side.
Since we brought it up, before we break down the no-hitter a little bit, let's just talk about the Rendon thing. What are your thoughts on my man just saying, you know what? I'm going to try to make this as fair as I can. And he still does it.
So much fun. I'm hugely behind it.
I respect him.
And I'm hugely behind it because it was Brett Phillips on the mound. Then you know how much fun he is and how that guy won't take offense to that at all. That made it what it was. I why not? Let's just have fun at times like that. So I'm okay with anything like that. I'm okay with getting a little funky, a little weird. I'm okay with him swinging out of his shoes and striking out in that at bat. The home run is just a testament to Anthony Rendon's athleticism, but I'm cool with him just having fun. Have you ever played Oppo baseball? It's a blast.
Yep.
Like it's a lot of fun.
That was like our treat in high school. Like every few weeks we'd have like just a grueling Friday, like a Thursday. It was like on a Thursday usually, or even like a Saturday. And after like a couple weeks of just putting in the work, our coach would be like, "All right, it's time to wrap up practice. But before we go, put your stuff down.
Dude.
We're gonna play some Oppo baseball." I was like, "This is the greatest thing ever."
Yeah, it's fun. It's weird. It's different. And like at that point, I think you're right. I think it would feel a little different if it wasn't a no-hitter. But at the same time, it's like maybe we needed that during a no-hitter. For a game that was serious, for a game that like meant something to Detmers, the game that meant something to the Angels, where it's like you can still go have fun, you can still do weird stuff like that. And I was a little surprised it's someone like Rendon, just because he's, I don't know, you kind of consider him somewhat conservative.
I thought
and
the same
shy.
thing. Yeah.
But still, I'm like, I'm here for it. If you're going to have guys out there in these mop-up roles, and it's becoming more and more common where you have these like position players floating it at like 45, 50 miles an hour, why not? Like, why not? Like, how good does it feel if you hit a tank from the right side, or if you rope a double? You know what I'm saying? Like, how good does it feel? It doesn't feel that great. I mean, it helps the stats in the end of the day, but like for that one at bat, have fun. Go up there lefty, and if you K'd lefty because you're not a lefty. Or if you hit a nuke, it is national story, and that's what it was. It's like that's fun. I want more of that kind of stuff in baseball in scenarios like that. It doesn't need to happen all the time. But I think that's fun. That's cool. It's different. And we don't have to be so serious about it. You know? We don't have to be over the top. You know, when like football wise, they had Chad Ochocinco come out and kick a point after. Never done anything kicking wise in a football game before, but he comes out and he kicks a point after and nails it. Like, that is fun. As long as it's in the right scenario. This was the right scenario. And I think this, along with some other stuff, tells me this Angels team is different. And this is where I think that Joe Madden Cubs vibe is starting to ease in a little bit more. That fun, relaxed, we're still here to win ball games, but like, let's enjoy the ride and let's enjoy each other and like, let's be a true clubhouse. I think it's starting to mold into that, dude. I'm starting to buy in a little bit.
I had people coming after me after that no-hitter. They said, "Oh, you still think the Angels are frauds?" I said, just wait it out. It's a long season.
I don't think they're a postseason team. I don't think they're a division winning team this year. Because you talk about the AL and like, you know, we're potentially looking at 3 teams out of the East. I think what they said on MLB Network, it's either 3 teams out of the West or 3 teams out of the East in the AL. You're not getting 2 teams in the Central, right? I think it's basically just the White Sox getting into that. So we're talking about, you know, Yanks, Blue Jays, Rays, or Mariners, Angels, Houston, right? So that's where we're going to bounce back and forth. I don't know if the Angels have enough to beat out those other teams in the AL. But after the no-hitter and Detmers is doing his interview, every guy is up on the top step, out of the dugout. Every guy is involved. Every guy's watching that moment. And that, to me, I think just says something a little, it's a little different. It's a little different.
Yeah, I was a big fan of that. Because in that, and I was thinking about it too, because in a situation like that, there's probably 3 scenarios. You could either, A, just go about your business, just pack up your stuff, head down to the clubhouse, don't think anything of it. The other option would be, all right, he's this young kid, the rookie. Maybe we haze him a little bit. Maybe we not mess up his interview in a bad way necessarily, but you know, just give him a hard time, make it fun. or you could do what they did. And I'm like, of all the three options, this
was the least likely, I think.
I think it was least likely in terms of if you're a betting man, that's probably not what I think they'd be doing. But it speaks the loudest of all of those, all the potential scenarios.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's pretty cool. And I won't say it changes my mind fully.
I've never heard of this kid. I never heard of this kid before.
Yeah.
He's no hitter. Did you?
I mean, very, very briefly.
Yeah. Not enough to be like, remember for anything important. And I think that's pretty cool. And the other thing is, I mean, they had 2 strikeouts. That's the whole squad being involved. That's plays being made. And I think that hits a little different too. I think it does. I almost enjoy those types of no-hitters more. I mean, sure, you get those crazy no-hitters where like the Nolan Ryans and the Verlanders and, like where you're 18, 19 dominance. Strikeouts. Like, that's a different thing. I think it speaks more volumes to the team.
Finished with a career high 108 pitches, 1 walk, and as you mentioned, just 2 strikeouts. Was the 12th in franchise history, and is the youngest to throw one since Anibal Sanchez in 2006 for the Marlins. The biggest thing for me out of this whole feat was the fact that it was just a real no-hitter.
True. This is the real one.
It was nice to see a real no-hitter, an actual no-hitter, especially so soon, seemingly after whatever that thing in New York was. It wasn't a no-hitter.
Do you see Syndergaard's post?
Yeah, and I'm here for it. And I'm absolutely here for it. And he called out some other things too in his post. I don't know if you saw that, but he followed up to his Instagram story about it being a real
no-hitter. That guy doesn't shy away from anything.
No, and I love it. There's something along the lines of, no, I need to pull this up because I don't want to get it wrong. But he doubled down. I'm like, all right, I can respect this.
Yeah.
But he put out that IG story saying this is a real no-hitter. And then he clarified on tweet. He says, and to be clear, I don't think a combined no-hitter is the same as, quote, real one pitcher no-hitter. And then he says, and ban the wave, and Mr. Meta's a creep. And then he said, and Richard Staff's wife is never coming back. I guess that's some
he's salty. He's definitely salty. There's a little too much going on there.
Well, no, because if you look at Richard Staff's bio, it says Noah Syndergaard's least favorite fan. So there's a little something there.
I'm here for it. I'm here for the chirp back. I'm here for the saltiness. Here for
Richard Staff I don't think is a real person.
I'm here for all of it. No, it's definitely a dummy account.
Yeah, definitely a dummy account. And that's definitely a play on words there, but this is a family program, and I'm not gonna announce that. But yeah, just super cool for the kid. There were a couple close calls, I will say. From all of what I was seeing, they were saying for the most part, there wasn't many. I'm like, there was a couple, the top of the 4th. I don't know if you were able to see any of the.
Saw a couple.
I watched the condensed version the next day, just to get caught up to speed. The top of the 4th, he almost knocked a ball away. I don't know if you saw that, but there was a ball up the middle, and he did one of those things where he spins around and tries to knock it down with his glove. If he makes contact there, it's all over because you're ruling that a hit 10 times out of 10. And then I don't know if you saw the whole controversy about the Brett Phillips error.
No, that was an error. It was 2 steps to Walsh's right, and then just clank, clank. That's an error. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Brett Phillips was a moving, though. That was the only thing where I was like, I could maybe see why this is up for debate. Because, I mean, even if he makes that clean, Brett's bang, in play. Step with the pit. He's side by side. I'm like, that would have been a little dicey, but.
I think so, too. But I'm glad it was. I think it's more controversial if that's called a hit and this no-hitter was ruined because of that only. I think that's more controversial than just calling this an error and letting the ball don't lie. I'm a true believer in ball don't lie.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So, and what inning did that happen in?
The error was top of the 7th.
Yeah. Ball don't lie. At that point, you have plenty of time to still allow the chance of anything else. And nothing else happened. Ball don't lie. That's an E all day.
Ball don't lie. It brings me to a question that, shout out Caleb. He hit me up in the messages, which, by the way, before we get into it, if you're a listener and you have any like relevant questions of things that are going on that are maybe more big picture that can't just be answered with a single line response, and you want us to talk about it, just hit me up in the DMs.
Always.
I might be able to get it on the show if it's timely, if we can squeeze it in, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But Caleb hit me up and he said, how would you rank the following? And he included a perfect game, a 20 strikeout game, a no-hitter, combined no-hitter, immaculate inning, and a Maddox, which for those who don't know, that's a complete game with less than 100 pitches.
So perfect game number 1.
Perfect game number 1.
I would go 20 strikeout game.
I'm going
number 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially nowadays where we have like, you know, the launch angle era in the shift era, like I think it's the regular no-hitter is kind of losing its luster a little bit. Not saying it's not difficult. So I think the 20 strikeout game means that you're doing your thing. As a pitcher, you're dominating. So I'm going to go that second. Regular no-hitter.
I'm going
Maddox.
Yes.
That one.
Oh yeah,
that's
for
real
sure,
close.
for sure. Especially nowadays.
That one's real close. I could potentially even put a Maddox complete game above a no-hitter, but I can't. It's close.
No. Yeah, so I'm going perfect game, 20K game.
No-hitter.
Even then, dude, that's a 20 game or a 20 strikeout game. Like I'm not putting it above perfect game, but like it's like a 1B, dude. Those are incredible.
Yeah.
Like those get talked about.
Yeah, for a while, forever.
So I'm going perfect game, 20K, no hitter, Maddox. I guess combined no hitter.
I kind of want to go immaculate.
Honestly, like I don't care about the combined no hitters. They're not no hitters. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole again, but they're just not no hitters. So it's like, is it really a feat? No.
Again, because like now we only see starting pitchers go 4 or 5 innings, and it's like it's a very normal thing for starting pitchers not even qualify for a win. Very normal. And every guy in the bullpen is a stud. That did not used to be the case. Like, this was not normal. Even when we were like teenagers.
Yeah. Yeah, you couldn't name more than maybe
you name the closer and maybe the setup guy.
Yeah, that was about it.
Like, I could name every guy in bullpens across the league, and you're like, disgusting. Would be a true closer for the last, 20 years before this to dominate, and now they're just like a regular 6 or 7 inning guy. And it's normal to have like 3 or 4 of those in just one bullpen. It's not that impressive to me. It's the whole point of a no-hitter is to be efficient while navigating through your dominance.
And
you know what I'm saying?
And
like a 20 strikeout thing is just as impressive because of the fact that pitch count is such a crazy thing.
Yeah,
now.
like you got to be around for the 8 to 9 innings in order to do that. Like,
yeah. And that just means you can't attack the zone every time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really impressive. A combined no-hitter just doesn't do anything. I think a cycle is more impressive than a combined no-hitter.
Well, that's just a fantastic segue into our next topic of discussion, which is the Christian Yelich cycle. Becomes the sixth player in Major League history to hit for 3 cycles in a career. Wait, so you're saying you would put a cycle above
A combined no-hitter.
Wow.
I think that's more impressive. And again, I think hitting is harder now than it's ever been. And I would say...
Well, let me ask you this. On that note, in our lifetime, do you think we'll see the mound moved back?
No.
Really? I hate to say it, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I could see that in our lifetime. Because
I could see the plate getting smaller.
I mean...
And shrinking the strike zone.
I guess, but like, you're just going to... Training is going to become so advanced. You're just going to see 102, 103 on the regular.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just not doable.
All more to the fact that, or all more pointing to my point of hitting's harder now than it's ever been.
Yeah,
I think
it's only going to get harder. I think.
Yeah, and I don't think. They ask this question all the time. You've heard this on multiple broadcasts. Like, what would you rather have, a 3 home run game or a cycle? Every dude in the books is saying 3 home run game. The cycle is cool, but it's not anything that's like you're on that day. I'm more happy about going 4 for 4 or 5 for 5 in a cycle day versus the actual cycle. Have you hit for a cycle before, ever? Little League days or middle school or anything?
It's possible. I
hit for the cycle my freshman year in high school.
I wasn't a friend of the triple.
Yeah.
Not this husky boy.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was cool, but there was like this weird like outfield fence that like was like deep. It was like 440
so you had
to the gap.
You had the loophole.
So I just hit it to the right center gap and ran. But I don't really, like, when it comes down to it, I don't know. I don't think that matters that much. I'm more excited the fact that it's Christian Yelich. And, like, I feel like he's starting to come back and he's starting to be Christian Yelich again. That means more to me.
Do you hear that helicopter flying over?
No. They looking for you?
They heard rumors that we're talking about JFK assassination
Makes
at the end
sense.
of this episode. The 3-0 fake, part 1.
Look out for the snipers. Look out for the snipers.
Yeah, I mean... Great.
Did you see that it's the only that like the Reds?
Yes, dude. It's
about the Reds.
The only team he's done it against. All 3 have been against the Reds. The first player to hit 3 in Major League history to hit 3 cycles against a single team.
It's also not a big ballpark in Cincinnati to get triples, so it's pretty impressive.
The Reds have allowed 20 cycles in their history, second most to the Cardinals, who have 24.
Wow.
Not a lot of things going right for the old
no.
Red
Good
Legs.
for Christian though. I like this. The Brewers need Christian Yelich. I like baseball more when Christian Yelich is going. I like rooting for him. I like his story. I like when he's succeeding. It's another guy that it's weird to see him not succeed. So I'm glad that it looks like he's healthy. His back is normal again. And I want it. And I think I did. Didn't I have him for my comeback player of the year? I think I did.
Did you?
I think I did. Yeah.
That sounds right.
I still got these notes. I still got it saved. I think I do.
That sounds right. Yeah. Although, didn't you say you thought...
Yeah, Christian Yelich.
Were you out on Belly this year? Or did you say you thought both of them would return?
No, I'm out on Belly. I think Belly's...
But were you out on Belly from the start, though, is what I'm saying, like before the season started?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
One of my hot takes was saying that Belly was going to be traded.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And what did you say? By when?
No, that was my Kimbrel. My Kimbrel bet is, or my Kimbrel hot take is dead in 3 days. I said he was going to lose the closing job, but he's doing pretty well.
And so. you said what by
May 15th?
If you would have said Liam Hendricks, you might have been onto something there. Friend of the pod, Liam Hendricks has had some early struggles, so you were onto something there. You were in the ballpark.
I was in the ballpark,
or I should say in the bullpen. You're in the bullpen.
I think Kimbrel just walked in there and just sprinkled a little bad luck and left.
I don't know what he did, but we need our
bad luck fairy dust.
We needed friend of the pod, Liam Hendricks, to get back to doing what he was born to do, and that's chuck baseballs and give you the best final strike.
There's got to be something going on.
Yell of all time.
Because I don't think his mindset is ever an issue.
No,
that guy's locked in. He's intense. He's about it for sure. There's got to be something going on mechanically. He might be tipping.
Yeah, it's got to be a mechanical
doing something
thing.
that's tipping. Yeah.
No chance you're getting inside that guy's head.
No.
You're not rattling that cage.
Australians are crazy.
They're characters, man. They are characters.
Yeah, they will fight you to the death.
We got to talk a little bit about Cano here. Some news we just got. Before we do that, tell us about Big League Chew, Nate.
The boys of Big League Chew. Founded by former left-handed pitcher Rob Nelson, Big League Chew started from humble beginnings in the Portland Mavericks bullpen in 1977. For more than 40 years, the iconic pouch is packed with shredded, flavorful bubble gum has become the #1 shredded gum of athletes everywhere. Big League Chew has sold more than 900 million pouches and is designated as the Hall of Fame bubblegum. Grab some gum and head to Big League Chew's social media channels at Big League Chew on Twitter, at Big League Chew Gum on Instagram to show off your Big League bubbles. You can also find a list of retailers that purchase any of their products directly from their website at bigleaguechew.com.
Big League Chew. And hey, we're starting to get some people. We're starting to get some tags trickle in. People getting Big League Chew. We had, I got to show some love. Hold on. I need to pull up the tweet.
Well, honestly, why not? Like, if you can get a little shout out from your favorite gum on social media, like, why would you not do it?
DJ, bro, these helicopters they mean business.
Yeah, dude. They're not joking around.
They said, we heard you're talking about JFK. We don't want any part of that. So on Twitter, DJ the Braves fan at StrikeHimOut27. He tagged us the other day. He said, I got asked to bring snacks for my kids' final T-ball game. Guess what every kid is getting in their bag?
Yeah.
Thanks for the idea at the 30 Take Pod at Big League Chew. That's what we love to see.
Did they get the post? How long ago was that?
Did who get the post?
On social media? Did they do anything? Because Big League Chew did a little something on, I don't know, it was April 26th. They got a bunch of little kids celebrating after a camp.
Oh, no, this was a couple days ago. It's on Twitter.
It's cool, man. They're good. They're good folks over there. And honestly, I still have people commenting to me about the Rob Nelson episode.
I love that.
So if you haven't listened to it, Rob's the best. Go check it out. I will say it's a good thing we didn't have the YouTube channel back then because Rob didn't know how to work the camera too well.
That's right. You could tell he was just so excited to talk to us about Big League Chew, and I would be.
I'm telling you, it's a great episode. We learned a lot. Rob's fun.
Dude,
Rob's a good dude.
That was one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah. So go give it a listen. But I'm still getting people asking me about it.
Love that. Before we transition here, let me tell you a little bit about SeatGeek. Nate, it's the answer to all your ticket needs. Are you looking for tickets? Do you have plans with friends or family to make it to an upcoming game or concert? I wonder how when people hear this ad, I wonder how many recite along or even could recite along. At this point, I feel like you've had to hear it so much.
Ours, Big League Chew is still kind of new.
Yeah. Even I'm getting used to that
for a hot minute. Yeah.
Yeah, SeatGeek's been around for a minute. Do you have plans with friends or family to make it to an upcoming game or concert, or are you even looking months ahead to nail down a date to get tickets before they sell out? With SeatGeek, you You can find tickets to games, concert shows, and even theater performances with just a few easy clicks. We're making it even better for you if you're a first-time user of SeatGeek. Next time you add some tickets to your cart, use our promo code the 3, 0, take pod. That's our social handle at checkout to save $20 instantly off your first purchase as a first-time user. So all you got to do to save some of that.
Cold hard cash.
Enter promo code.
That was my theater performance for you. Cold hard cash. Is that pretty good?
That's pretty good. Enter promo code the 3.
SeatGeek.
Enter promo code the 3, 0, take pod at checkout.
SeatGeek.
And you know what? While we're here, might as well just share a little something for you dog people. Go ahead and head on over to barkbox.com/
Barkbox.
the 3, 0, take pod and receive a free extra month of BarkBox, which what BarkBox? What is BarkBox? It's a totally customized box of themed toys and treats for your pup, and you get it not once a year, not once a decade, not even once a millennium. You get it once a month.
Honestly, if you don't even have a dog, like
Fully customized.
give it to your least favorite kid.
Yeah, let them suck on the chew toy or something. I don't know.
Chew on this, punk.
Actually, no, we might be held liable there. Don't give it to your least favorite kid. Just don't do that. If you're going to do it, just cut the tags off, but you didn't hear that from us. Just putting out that disclaimer. We are not recommending giving BarkBox toys to your young children. Just want to make that clear.
Fetch this.
Not recommending that. All right, so this news that we actually just got before we hopped on.
Yeah.
Robbie Cano sounds like he's heading to the Padres. Why?
Do the Padres just like not care about how things mesh and how things shake out, and like for once just like stick to a lineup and go with it? What is it? What are you doing? You create more and more confusion. More confusion.
I saw a tweet where it was like a major league player exists, and then it was like the Padres. Oh yeah, sure, we'll take him.
I don't get the log jam that they're like almost purposely creating. Like you brought in Voit, you now have this toy of playing DH. You brought in Voit. It created this whole question mark around Hosmer. You have Cronenworth that should probably be your everyday second baseman. Now he's spent time all across the infield. Profar, you've made into a left fielder. We've talked about the Tatis thing of trying him out in the outfield. It's like, at what point are you just going to have an identity and stick to it?
Yeah, like why are you trying to push your luck? Hosmer's been working out great for you. Voit, I think, can turn it around. I mean, he had 2 bombs.
He was hurt. He's been hurt for 2 weeks.
Right, and then he comes back, and I think it was in the same game, had 2 bombs, or maybe back-to-back games. Why are you trying to push your luck here with a relatively washed-up Cano? I won't say completely, because I'm sure there's a little bit left in the tank, but the year hasn't started off great in that regard.
Why are you filling up a 40-man roster spot with this guy? I like Cano, but he's done. He doesn't provide anything. I know
we talked about it when the news broke that he was done with the Mets, but just as a reminder, he's if my numbers serve me correct here, he's hitting 195, or he's slashing 195, 233, 268 through 43 plate appearances.
Which I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. And the reason we're not like officially saying this is official is because He's not a free agent until tomorrow. So he's not a free agent until Friday, the 13th, by the way. Just figured that out.
Hey,
I didn't know that was happening.
Be careful out there.
So, yeah. Clearly not a good deal. Not a good day for the deal. Yeah, I don't understand what they're doing. I don't understand what they're doing. Their identity confuses me. The way they go about business confuses me. I don't understand it. I thought they were starting to make smart moves by swooping in and getting Bob Melvin. I thought was genius. But you have this like this weird. Are they the new Mets?
I hadn't considered that until you just brought it up. It's interesting.
Are they the new Mets?
Are they the new Mets of old? Apparently,
Yeah.
this is what people are saying. The Mets are a real deal this year. Whatever. So we'll just say, if that's the case,
I'm just saying
Mets
like
of old.
this weird, the weird amount of talent on the roster that just doesn't make sense. It's not spread out evenly. They do all this work to get their rotation set up, bullpen struggles, and like you have guys out of position at all times. I don't understand what they're trying to do. It doesn't make sense to me. None of it really does. So Luke Voit isn't that bad against righties. I think, honestly, I would just give Luke Voit an entire year to just let him do his thing.
Give him a chance. That's what you were saying before we hopped on. You're like, why won't they just give him a chance?
I know what's going to happen. They're just going to bounce back and forth, and Cano's going to hit against righties, and Luke Voit's going to hit against lefties. And that's what they're going to do. And this issue becomes an issue if they do get into the postseason, because of the fact that, you're going to have to pick. You're going to have to pick at one point or some, multiple points. Those guys are going to have to hit against the other side. Cano's going to have to face a lefty and Voigt's going to have to face a righty. It's going to happen. But like, what are you doing?
Do you think
the identities and Machado's like quietly having an MVP year? Like,
do you think Cano even makes it
lost.
to the end of the year?
I don't know.
I mean, you're talking like postseason. I'm like, one, we don't even know if they're getting in. Two, I don't even know if he'll be there for that.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think if within the last few years, if we would have seen this like flash of like stud Robinson Cano, like I would get it. But when's the last time we saw it? I mean, when's the last time we saw the normal Robinson Cano? Everything looks to me like it's like second gear. Everything he does just looks like it's in second gear. There's no sense of urgency with anything he does.
Well, that's the thing with
fielding,
Cano.
running, hitting.
That's the thing, is his whole career has been effortless. Like everything he did was effortless. But when you get up there in age and you're still playing that same way, you're not going to get the same product. Like I'm not saying you have to change your whole approach.
Yeah.
You're just up against an unfair battle, or you're in an unfair battle against Father Time. Like it's just unfortunate that it has to be that way, but the whole like effortless, like smooth as butter thing, you can only do that for so long before your body's just like, I just can't do it anymore. I just can't.
Yeah. The last thing, I mean, we haven't seen anything since 2017. He had 23 jacks with 97 RBIs with the Mariners. His last year in Seattle. No, second to last year. The year before that, he had 39 and 100. So I think that was the last we ever saw of a normal Robinson Cano. And it went from like this smooth swinging, middle of the lineup, pretty effortless swing, Gold Glove defense, to like, well, now you just look old and slow and behind everything. He just looks late.
That's what I'm saying.
Everything he does looks late.
That's what I'm saying. Just doesn't translate.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Like, you're not Griffey. I'm sorry. Like, you don't get to have that swing just go through, years and years of effortlessness. I don't like it. And the Padres, I have no idea what you're doing. And honestly, this isn't the year. The West looks strong. And I think because of what the Padres are and what they're doing and the lack of identity, I think I can say that I think the Giants have an opportunity to prove that last year wasn't a fluke because of this.
Yeah, I mean, as it stands right now, let's just be clear. The Padres aren't playing bad ball this year, but it comes down to what you were saying about the identity issue. Like, your pieces are working.
The clubhouse has to mesh.
Yeah. So as it stands right now, you got the National League West, the Dodgers at 20-9, Padres in second at 20-12, and then the Giants right behind them at 19-12. And this is entering Thursday. So, and literally you got 500 plus clubs for all of them. You got the Diamondbacks in fourth at 17-15, and you got the Rockies, who I feel like are still playing respectable ball. They're 16-15.
Both of those teams, they're not playoff teams. They are not going to be anywhere in the conversation come August, but they will play you tough, and they have a sense of pride. There's no identity with the Padres. I don't get it. Like, Chris Paddock gets traded, and he's like, oh, thank God. Like, I didn't like it there. Chris Paddock has, probably needs to take a lot of that blame for himself because he didn't perform well. But at the same time, you're like, that is not a good thing to hear once you leave. Right? And so I think, like, Syndergaard leaving the Mets, there's like this bad taste in his mouth of like what the organization was about, how they did business. And I think that's what that saltiness is. But I think that Mets team is different. I think this Padres team is like, it's the new old Mets. Because it's just weird. You can't just blindly spend money and think it's going to work.
That's an interesting.
And it's just a lot of it doesn't make sense.
That's an interesting take. Something to chew on.
I just thought of it. Yeah.
Something to chew on. All right. Well, we got a little special segment here at the end, but before we do that, let's close the book here. I just had a note. The Pirates, I feel like this deserves mention. The Pirates just went out and won a series over the Dodgers. And this was after they lost the series to the Reds. Like, immediately. They're just like, oh.
I'm a big fan of that. I like it.
Let's go out and take the series versus the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I literally talked about, like a couple episodes ago, after getting back from my visit to PNC, I was just like, this team sucks. Like,
yeah,
whatever. Like, the branding goes to waste, the colors, the logo, all that stuff just goes to waste for a sucky team. And then they said, just wait for the Dodgers. And they went out and did it. Baseball doesn't make any sense. It makes zero sense.
It doesn't. I think the Dodgers are a little bit of a. They're an interesting story.
I'm not gonna say anything's wrong after very much a fluke series with the Pirates. I just think it's funny how baseball works sometimes.
It is funny how it works, but they have a lot of guys that are underperforming, and I'm when that turns on, they're leading. What are they? They're 20-9. Is that what you just read off?
Yeah, which, by the way, worth mentioning, entering Thursday, the Dodgers, as already mentioned, 29. The other members of the 20-win club, the Padres at 20-12, the Brewers at 20-12, the Mets at 21-11, the Angels at 21-12, and the Yankees at 22-8. But yeah, when that turns on...
Did you hear a little nugget about that?
I did hear a little bit.
With the Yankees?
A little bit of a nugget, yeah.
That start of the season?
Yeah.
I'm scared, man. I'm getting nervous.
We'll let the people...
Palms are sweaty.
We'll let the people find that nugget for themselves. because it's
I think that was a neat little nugget. I didn't know that. It was a little neat nugget to read, but
very interesting nugget.
Yeah.
But yeah, once the Dodgers turn on the burners, but again, it's not a surprise to anybody. Like, this is just we're just kind of waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, Justin Turner's starting to turn it on. We said this a few weeks ago. I don't know if Muncy's healthy. I don't think he's feeling normal.
Yeah.
With that elbow stuff that he was dealing with. Not to mention, like, you went from playing first base every day to not. That changes some things, And Bellinger obviously is lost. Mookie's not even really doing Mookie things quite yet. So, and they're still winning ball games. So I wouldn't be nervous at all if you're a Dodgers fan about this Pirates series. It's the way it works sometimes.
Then the only other note I had here was just to note that umpires, once again in the news. We saw it last night with the Sox and Braves.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a terrible call. The pitch was low. I'll admit I did watch the pitch over and over and over, and I was just trying to make sense of why people are getting so upset. And like I saw that it was low, but part of me was just thinking, I mean, this is kind of close. But it brings me to a point that I actually can't remember who put it out. I think it was Tom Caron with the Sox, but he the point was basically give the umpires the same technology that we have. Like, he's all for keeping the umpires, just keep them there. And just give them like a little buzzer, or give them something in the ear that just says, all right, this box that you see on the TV, or something maybe a little bit more advanced that they have in the stadium. Because we all know that those strike zones on the TV that you see, those aren't always necessarily super accurate.
They're not official. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of a guideline. But maybe give them something a little more advanced than that just gives them a little bit of help. And that way we can, like, everybody's happy. Like, you keep the human element there, you give them a little bit of help, and we just go on from there.
Give them a printout in between innings. Give them a printout. That little umpire scorecard that we see, give them a little printout. All you have to do is have the clubby come run it out to him. Give him a little card. He can look it over and say, you don't need to wait. Right? So hitters, if they see a borderline call, they're going to go, I'm going to go watch. And they have to wait until their next time up, so they're stepping in the box and they're saying, Blue, like, I told you I was right. It was 2 inches in, right? Why does it have to wait that long? How many other pitches have been affected since he did get that feedback? They need quicker feedback. And there's nothing wrong with adjusting in the middle of the game. I actually enjoy when that happens. When you can make an adjustment and tighten it up to where it's more accurate, something needs to happen. Give them a little report card. It doesn't even have to be every inning. Maybe after the 3rd, 6th, and 8th or something like that, where you can come out and you give them a little card and they can see what they're missing. And if there's a trend, hey, I'm missing on the inner corner. I don't know. But and also, I mean, the stuff with the Blue Jays and the Yankees, that was just super weird. Super weird.
Yeah, fill me in a little bit on that, because I feel like
So there was a lot of chirping going back and forth. It was not yesterday's game, it was Tuesday's game. There's a lot of chirping going back and forth, and basically the Yankees, I think it was the day Stanton hit that, like, the short porch home run to right to tie up the game, and then Donaldson caught a fastball up and in from a reliever, no warning, no nothing, and they just tossed him. And like, everybody, I was surprised. Yankees were surprised. The Yankees broadcast was like, weird. No warning, no nothing, just tossed him. Coaches come out, they're chirping. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of weirdness going on. Donaldson is chirping because, there's a little bit of that edge. There is a little bit of a rivalry going on between those two teams right now. But what the umpires did was just really strange. And then the next inning, Loaiziga comes out with Bichette up. And Loaiziga has run. Like, he's sink two-seam. That ball has run. And it was a ball somewhat close, but like Bichette, kind of threw his head back. And then the Blue Jays, dugout is like, what? Like, what's going on? That wasn't on purpose. You're not going to give them a warning or whatever. And then Montoya gets tossed just for chirp. It was just like, it was really odd. And nothing ever happened against the Yankees. And I don't think anything should have happened against the Yankees, but I don't think anything should have happened against the Blue Jays. Like, it was just weird. It's weird, dude.
Weird.
Like, I'm telling you,
Very
like,
weird.
they want us to be upset with umpires. I think this is there's a little something going on here. They want fans to be upset with umpires to potentially start being okay with changes, just to make it more acceptable.
What are you saying there, Nate? What are you saying?
I think there's a little conspiracy.
Little conspiracy, you say? That's that's interesting because we're gonna talk about a conspiracy here. The 3-0 fake episode, is that what we want to call it? Do we just want to call it episode 1?
Episode 1.
The 3-0 fake number 1.
Mm-hmm. Just a little mini ep.
Does that work?
Within the ep.
An ep within the ep. Little segment here. John F. Kennedy. Look. What your government is telling you, folks, it's not the truth. I know I've alluded to this particular conspiracy before. This is probably, and who knows, maybe we'll do we'll cover some more conspiracies that maybe I'm a little intrigued by. As it stands right now, the primary ones that I can think of, this is probably the only one that I legitimately believe outright. That what you're told that happened, that's not what happened. So November 22nd, 1963. Your government, folks, wants you to believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone gunman in the assassination of John F. Kennedy. It's not the case. There's so many. It's wild how many rabbit holes you can go down.
There's a lot of weird stuff surrounding this, yeah.
Dude, there's so many weird like the Umbrella Man, for one. You'd probably go, what's the Umbrella Man? I've never heard of that. Just do a quick Google. Tell me why there was a man with an umbrella there. A black
Sunny
umbrella.
day in Dallas.
Sunny day in Dallas. Nobody else there with an umbrella. He's got it open. Why does he have it open? Who knows? It's part of the conspiracy.
What about that Bush guy? You saw the guy in the bushes, right? There's like something about
the grassy knoll.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for those who are unfamiliar, basically the conspiracies surrounding the John F. Kennedy thing is there are beliefs that there were multiple gunmen. You've got the lone gunman theory, and then you've got beliefs that there were multiple gunmen. I'm of the belief that there was a gunman up in the grassy knoll. And if you're curious about this, I would encourage you to look it up. It's very fascinating. Basically, the way they were driving, the course that they were driving, had them passing the school book depository building, and then up to the right of the course that they were on was a little grassy knoll area. You had some trees up there. You had a little like a little stockade fence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm of the belief that the person that took out John F. Kennedy was up behind that stockade fence. Because if you go and look at the Zapruder film, if you've heard of the Zapruder film, it's the video of the assassination that was shot on, I believe, what was it, like an 8mm camera.
Mm-hmm.
Very famous video. If you go back and look at the video, on impact,
yeah,
I don't know why you're laughing. I don't know why you're laughing.
It's just, the fact that you just have the terminology on everything is wild. The grassy knoll, the depository. This is like we're playing like a game of Clue, and you're like, because the FBI.
This is a game of Clue that
in the grassy knoll with the candlestick.
That will literally never end. This will never end. We'll never know. I'm convinced we'll never know.
Nah, we'll never know.
If you look at the film, at the point of impact, his head goes back. Like if you're looking at him, his head goes back and to the right.
Yeah.
They've run ballistics, countless ballistic tests.
Yeah. Yep.
And there are no scenarios in which his head goes back and
back from behind the car, right? Where they said Oswald was.
Yeah. So if you're JFK, the building is to your right and behind you. So it would have come if he was hit the way they said he was, his head is going forward to the left.
Yeah.
It goes back and to the right.
And he like falls into.
Yeah. And there were multiple shots fired, which is a whole nother rabbit hole we can get into. How many shots are fired, which direction, which ones missed, because Governor Connolly was in the front seat. He also got hit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying it was just a man in the grassy knoll.
Mm-hmm.
If you get hit, like we already said, you're going back and to the right, which is what happened from the grassy knoll. They ran ballistics tests that proved that it's just not possible. Like they ran tests on melons, they ran tests on dummies and filled them with Jell-O. Didn't make sense. But let's just wipe our hands clean and.
Well, there's a lot of other weird stuff. There's a lot of other weird stuff, right? Like I'm not familiar with this story as much as you are, but I do remember like when I did part of the audio book that Killing Kennedy. And there was one that was like talking about how there was this weird gap in time to where JFK's body getting to the hospital, somewhat disappearing, and then there was this weird gap before LBJ was sworn in. Right? Like I think he was sworn in before the body got to the hospital or something like that.
Well, so there's a whole
like officially dead.
Yeah, there's a whole conspiracy about the hospital
and
thing.
LBJ wasn't he the former director or something? He was connected with CIA before he went political. That's what I thought. There was a weird like tie-in with the CIA.
Yeah, there's like a huge disconnect like
with LBJ.
There's a part of this whole, or one of the facets, I should say, of many of these conspiracies. There's some overlap in saying that there was an issue with the autopsy, that they did it. I think there was something along the lines. And again, the whole Nate and I were talking about this just to clarify. The whole purpose of these 3-0 fake segments is for us to like
3-0 fake
to address questions about these conspiracies. This is a little bit of an exception because I feel like I've researched it a little bit more than I have the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I at least have some like background knowledge about it. But for these other ones, it's just going to be like, we're just going to be proposing questions because we don't know. Nobody really knows. That's why they're conspiracies.
I just think this one's a little more.
I'm telling you, there's a little bit. Forgive me for not knowing the exact way it happened, but I remember researching it. There's some gray area on the autopsy situation because I believe it was Texas law that autopsies were required. but then they came in and said, I think it was, I don't know if it was the Secret Service or who it was, but they came in and said, no, we're taking the president back to Washington. Now, why would we do that? Why would that happen?
Yeah.
And if you look at it, there's interviews from the doctors that operated on the president. There were, again, I don't know if it was Secret Service or if it was something else, but there were people in that room that were disposing of brain matter either in the trash can or down the sink. And the doctors, that kind of piques them into. They said, no, hold on a minute. Why are we doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Amid all the chaos, why are we doing that?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Another facet of this whole thing, the guy that supposedly killed him, Lee Harvey Oswald. He was seen moments after the shooting walking around with a Coke in his hand.
Yeah,
He walks out of the building. He walks to a nearby intersection down the road, and I actually went to the intersection where it happened, and gets in an altercation with a police officer, shoots the police officer, leaves there, goes to a movie theater, walks right in, doesn't pay for a ticket or anything, just walks right in, and then they find him there. They take him back to holding. Where it gets interesting is when they start parading him out in the open when they're transporting him from room to room. And then Jack Ruby, who had an in with the police officers because he owned a strip club, and many of the police officers at the time were regular patrons. They'd go there, they'd eat, they'd I don't know if it's their time off or whatever. They'd go there. So he had an in with police officers. So he just makes his way into the station without any real question. He takes out Lee Harvey Oswald on national television. So you lose that piece of information, which is interesting because if you're trying to cover something up, why not take out the guy who you're pinning? Yeah. Easy way to wipe your hands clean and say, you know what, that's it. Sorry, like that evidence is gone. That information's gone.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point. I don't know, man.
It's interesting. Another thing. It's believed that his parade route was changed. Just moments. Moments before it happened,
so it could bottleneck and slow the car down.
Yep, because if you put him in line of sight of multiple gunmen, your odds of taking him out far greater. That's just physics. That's geometry. That's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Why would you need to change a parade route? Just moments before it happens.
Yeah. I couldn't find the thing about his like actual death in the hospital and like that weird. There was like a weird gap. And I can't remember if like LBJ was like immediately sworn in before.
Yeah, he was.
JFK even got to the hospital, or if it was like a weird amount of time before he was.
Yeah, he was sworn in on. I believe it was on the plane, and then immediately he said he wanted to get up off the ground because there was grumblings that, there was some weird stuff. I mean, obviously with JFK, but some weird things surrounding it, and he didn't want any part of that. So he said,
"Yeah,
let's get up in the air."
But it was also all about. I think it was all about JFK wanting to basically get rid of the CIA.
Oh yeah. There's, I mean, the mafia they're part of this whole conspiracy thing. Cuba obviously was involved with this whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
I agree.
That's kind of where we're at.
Good first episode.
And that's really it for these things. It's like we just, propose some facts, provide some
the 3-0 fake.
The 3-0 fake. Provide some background information and let you decide.
There you go.
Maybe it's your turn to jump down the rabbit hole because I've been going down these rabbit holes for far too long. Maybe it's your turn.
We're going to jump down another rabbit hole next week. We're going to find something. Is it real quick to just hop right into the moon landing?
No, that's going to be its own thing.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Next week, the next episode of the 3-0 fake. Just right into.
Do you want to do the moon landing? Another hot topic? Do we want to do that one?
Let's get it. Let's just get
All
it.
right, moon landing. The 3-0 fake number 2, the moon landing.
Yeah, it's coming. Coming next week.
Why was the flag waving? It's the moon.
Why are there footprints?
There's your teaser. That's all I got for the people.
I think that's it for me too.
We'll see you
Enjoy
guys.
your weekend.
See you guys next week.
Do it up this weekend. Do it up right.
Yeah, what am I saying? Don't think about next week. Just enjoy the weekend.
Enjoy the weekend.
But we
Get
will,
on your big league chew game.
we will see you next Monday.
And tag us when you hopefully are going to games. And don't go chasing curveballs.
We love y'all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.